New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Why, hello there. It's me, yes, me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. And before I even get started, before I even welcome you into this beautiful space, I just want to say something about what happened last week. If you tuned in, I wasn't here. And here's what happened. I was all dressed up, ready to do my program. My producer Joe was waiting. My guest was waiting backstage in the studio, and I could not get logged on. I just couldn't. My internet kept saying it couldn't find the page. I even tried on my cell phone. It said it couldn't find the page. And it was like, oh my goodness, I can't even do the show. And you know that expression about all dressed up and nowhere to go. And here I am already, all burners are fully lit, and I could not get on. What happened? And my guest, this is the part that was so mind-boggling, is that my guest only lives like a few blocks away, and she was able to access the internet. So why wasn't I able to access the internet? So long story short, it was just our unit right here in this complex of the houses that are right here, just in this one little tiny, less than a half a block, that our internet was out. So I have been keeping gratitude journals for years. But this year, 2024, I just decided this is going to be the year that I am continuous in my gratitude journaling. And so that's why this long rant, because I want to say how much I am in gratitude for technology, how much I really appreciate it. And I'm in gratitude for New Thought Media Network for giving me the space and the platform to speak about grief, to speak about something that I feel so passionate about. And I have an aversion, I must say, don't hate me, but I have an aversion to social media. But I get more views on Facebook than any other place. I also have a YouTube channel, and it gets views there. But Facebook, as much as I complain about Facebook, it has been a necessary evil. And I'm going to maybe reframe how I speak of Facebook and have some gratitude for Facebook. But the person I really, really want to thank the most is my faithful producer, and his name is Joseph Rothenberger. So Joe, would you just come and say hi to everybody so that they can see the face that's behind your Doula for Grief?
Hey, everybody.
Happen every week. And I just want everyone to give Joe a big round of applause for getting my show up every week. And he shows up and he gives me good feedback. And Joe is an award-winning producer. I don't want to let that go unnoticed. He's an award-winning producer. And so I take his critiquing of my show very seriously. And I'm so honored when he gives me feedback positive feedback, and I'm even more honored when he gives me negative feedback, which we had today about my background. So, Joe, I just want to say thank you, thank you. I want to have it witnessed that I am in appreciation.
You're welcome. No problem. Yep.
Thank you, Joe.
Have a
I'll
good
see
show.
you on the other
Yep.
side.
See you on the
Okay.
other side. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Joe. Love you, big. So anyway, yes, I'm not doing this in a vacuum. That's for sure. That it takes others to help, and maybe that's a good segue into grief. That you can't do any of this alone. You really can't do any of this grieving alone. And so, with the thank yous and thanking Joe and my showing my gratitude to New Thought Media Network, and the owner of New Thought Media Network is Robert Brzezinski, Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, and so thanking him as well. And we can all make donations to New Thought Media Network so that we can keep this type of programming alive and well. So with that, I'm just going to take a bow and end that part of my show of gratitude. So, welcome. And I'm still Bonnie Morgan Gonzalez. And a little bit about me, I am a grief coach. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a religious science practitioner. And I'm also a licensed facilitator, Soul Collage. I facilitate Soul Collage. I'm a licensed facilitator for Soul Collage. My tongue is getting a little twisted today. But anyway, so that's about me. And my reason, my purpose for being here every week is to really demystify grief, to bring it definitely out of the shadows of our lives, right smack dab into the middle of our lives. The more we can talk about grief and the more that we can be with grief, we normalize it. My talking about it gives someone else permission to start talking about it. Like that, what spiritual chain reaction. It's a chain reaction. It's about letting my light shine so that I encourage you to let your light shine. And grief is, oh my gosh, grief is definitely a part of the human experience. It is one of the biggest teachers of our lives. And if we're busy suppressing our grief, we're also busy suppressing other emotions that can come through and come up and out. And I don't want to sound like I'm reprimanding people and saying that you're bad or judgment type of thing. That's not it. Because if you stop and think about it, just stop and think about it. Who taught you how to grieve? Who taught you how to grieve? Just think for a moment into that. That's pretty sobering. No one teaches us how to grieve. I remember being taught how to drive, how to write a check, how to behave in Sunday school, how to behave in church service, and just how to play with other kids and how to get along, how not to say things to hurt other people's feelings or being mean or malicious. But we're not taught how to grieve. Let's just be gentle with ourselves around it. When we're finding ourselves stuck and not knowing what to say to someone who's in grief, know that that's because you have not been taught how to grieve and what to say. And that is what I am here for. To give us a dialogue, to give us the vocabulary, to use when confronting grief. And I do want to say this. I know if you've listened before, let me explain just a quick second: loss and grief. Loss is what we experience and grief is what we feel. Therefore, grief is caused by loss. And loss is defined by Any event, expected or unexpected, that changes your life in a way that you can't go back to the way it was before. Think about that. Any event, planned or unplanned, expected or unexpected, that changes your life in a way that you can't go back to the way it was before. And of course, death, the loss of a loved one, is the most painful. It's the biggest loss that you'll ever experience in this lifetime. It is the biggest. Oh, what is that word? It's the big kahuna. It is the big mother. I call it the mother of all losses. So knowing that, and we give death its rightful place as saying that it's the biggest loss. We also, though, have divorce. We have geographical moves that causes us to lose, our lifestyles. We have health issues of concern or some mutilative surgery that leaves your body in a different shape, form, and fashion than before. We have divorce that truly is a heartbreak for so many people, and lives can't go back. Loss of friendships. The list just goes on. Even promotions, graduation, that change of a life, of a lifestyle. Those are all the losses. And as I said, the list goes on. So knowing that, yes, that is a loss, and therefore you are put in grief. And grief for all those emotions that you feel in relationship to the loss. Of course, there's sadness, depression, crying, numbness, confusion, just feeling paralyzed that you can't move forward. Those are the things that associated emotions associated with grief. So know that loss leads to grief. And this is the beauty, though. If it comes up and you're feeling it, that is the best. That is the best thing that could happen. Because if you can feel it, you can heal it. You can't heal what you don't feel. So if you feel like you're overcome with grief out of the clear blue and for no apparent reason, know that it has come, and it has come to pass. It has come because now is the time that you can heal it. So just knowing that to feel it, is to heal it. And when I talked about doing things alone, my not even being able to do your Doula for grief alone, that you can't do grief alone. Or I say, don't do grief alone. We are social creatures. And Bell Hooks says it best, that we can't heal in isolation. We cannot heal in isolation. So knowing that if you are with grief today, that you have come to the right place. Our theme today, and Joe's going to help remind me because he's going to put it up, is that facing our fears of grief. Thank you, Joe. Facing our fears of grief. And I have heard it said, I'm trying to remember how it's said. Oh, that grief feels like fear. Grief feels like fear. And if it is, grief feeling like fear, it's like grief changes us, and it's our change. It's the fear of change that is so prevalent. And it's just an innate human experience, no shame on it, no judgment on it. But it's just change causes us a lot of fear. So we're going to take just a quick break. And then when we come back, I'm going to just give you some, I call it 12 suggestions for dealing with grief so that it's not, the situation that is so overwhelming that you want to, run in fear. Oh, that acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Well, I have another one, and one's a clean version and one's a not so clean version. But I'll give the clean version since we're here on this program. But it's like a fear. It's like forget everything and run. And if you're in the, the other one is the F word, and fear is forget everything and run. We'll leave it at that. Joe will take us to a break, and then we'll come back, and I'll delve into the 12 suggestions for dealing with grief. So hang tight, and I'll be back. Hello. That was a nice break, Joe. Thank you. We've got some new commercials here. It's really nice to see. So, anyway, welcome back. And as I said, facing our fears of grief is what we're delving into and sharing. Or I'm sharing information on moving through grief and dealing with the grief. And I thought I would just start with a poem today. Why do I want to start with a poem? I think this poem kind of says it all, especially when we're in grief. Because when we're in grief, it's really like a roller coaster. 1 second you're joyous, the next second maybe you're plunging to the depth of sadness and hell, if you want to say it that way. And being able to just ride that emotional roller coaster, and to ride that emotional roller coaster, you need some tools. You need like when you're on a roller coaster, you have that handlebar that you can hold in onto so you don't get thrown out. And that's why I want to give you some tips so that when you're riding this roller coaster, you have something to hold on to. You have tools in your toolbox. And that's why I love this poem by Rumi. It's called Guest House. And I think it just says it all. It just says it all about our emotional states and status. So yeah, just close your eyes a minute and just hear this poem by Rumi. And it's The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Isn't that just beautiful? I just love that quote by Rumi. Well, that's one of his many poems. And so, I'm going to start going through our 12 suggestions. And I just had to get my screen up. So thank you. And I was going to say, welcome, and let me know if you have any questions. Make this time about you and for you. Drop a comment in the comment box. If you have a question, pop a question in, or if you just want to say hi, that would be welcome. It's great to know when others are out there listening. And whenever you're listening, you can always leave a comment. It does come into the communication chat box. I'll put it that way. So, okay, as promised, here goes 12 suggestions. Okay, 12 suggestions for navigating, moving through grief, moving through your fear of grief, whatever title you want to put on it. So the first, though, is to be gentle and be patient with yourself. The first one is to just be patient with yourself. Grief has just has no marker, has no time. There's no timeline. There's no length of time. There's no number of hours that grief will pass or it should be over. So just be patient with yourself wherever you are. If you wake up and you feel in that space, as I just read in that Rumi poem, welcome that as well. Welcome that, knowing that it is coming because it wants out. It is tired of being in your body there. It just wants to be acknowledged. Just being acknowledged. So just be patient with yourself, with wherever you are on the journey. No shoulds. So I love that expression. Don't should on yourself. So no shoulds. Remove that word from your vocabulary. And if you're like me, as soon as the word should comes up, that is my time to take a pause. That is my sign that, I use the S word, the should word. I need to stop and look at whatever it is that I'm shoulding on myself. That I should go here, I should do that, I should call this person, I should not be whatever person. That is mine. For me, that is when I push the pause button to examine what's going on. So being patient with yourself. And the other is to be gentle with yourself. I love telling my clients that when you're in a state of grief, to just be gentle with yourself, but I say treat yourself like a newborn baby. And if I say, mother holds and swaddles her newborn, yes, but fathers love their newborns as well. Think about how gently a newborn baby is treated. We even keep the noise level down. It's like, quiet, the baby is sleeping. Or no loud bangs and booms because you don't want to startle the baby. Or treat yourself that way, because that is the emotional fragility of where you are when you're in grief. And you need that gentleness. You need that gentleness and that kindness. So one is to be patient with yourself, and the other is to be gentle, treat yourself like that newborn baby. And the other thing that I know, this one's probably very, very difficult, and I'll say that, but let's see how we can maybe unpack it in a way. And it's about keep your life as simple as possible. Keep your life as simple as possible when you're going through grief. We all live in a really busy world. We get lots of things hurled at us, lots of invitations, lots of things that have to be done. I know we're all coming up on tax season. And if it's tax season, okay, it's tax season. Let's not maybe add on other things like, spring cleaning of the garage or piling, rooms full of old things that we've had and want to get rid of them, even though that can be a cathartic thing during grief. But we're talking about keeping life simple. How many invitations are you accepting to go out to places or to help and to volunteer? Just look at what is on your plate. What are you doing? What are you doing? What can be taken off if you're feeling really exhausted? Because grief is exhausting. So if you're feeling exhausted, what can you take off your plate? And I use this analogy. I say that life is like being at a smorgasbord and you have a plate. And you can put as much stuff on that plate as you want. Nobody's going to stop you except the sides of the plate. You know, things start falling off. That's true in life too. Things start falling off of your plate when you have too much on there. So imagine yourself being at a smorgasbord or buffet, and you've just put all this stuff on there. There's no space around anything, and it's all kind of mushed together, falling over. Maybe stop. And here's what I say: leave space around things. If you're at the smorgasbord and you're going to have the green salad, okay, put that on. And if you're going to have the sweet potato souffle, put that on, but leave space. Maybe not letting the souffle touch the salad. If you're going to have meat, maybe not have the meat touching the salad. Leaving space. Use that as a visual. Leaving space around your activities. And leaving space around activities also allows you to enjoy the activity even more. I had the thought of enjoy the activity, even if you have dentist on there, root canal. It's like leave space so that you can really heal after that. Leave space, because that's a pretty anxious thing. Most people do get anxious going to the dentist. So don't crowd so many things on there that you're even more stressed by all the other things you have to do and going to the dentist. But I'm just saying, leave space around activities. Delegate things. Do you have to do everything? I'm one of those people that's guilty of that. But the reason I want to do everything, I could do it, but I know just the way it needs to be done. But I'm learning to give that up. I'm learning to give that up. People do things in their own way, and we're all unique little snowflakes. So knowing that, yes, I can delegate it to someone else, and they will do it in their way. I'm releasing my attachment to the outcome and to what it has to look like. So yes, so keep life simple, leave space around to activities, delegate, if that is what is being called for. And number 4 is allow time and space to breathe. I was going to say, we all have our Google calendars now. Whenever there's a meeting I go to and I can't find the Zoom link, last week someone said, just check your Google calendar, it's there. So if that's the case, let's put some time on there to grieve. You know, grief is unpredictable. Grief is uncontrollable. I find when I have time, when I have allowed time for grief to show up, it is not so uncontrollable and not so unpredictable. I've given it time. I had a coaching client who just had such a busy schedule. It was hard to find time for her to be with her grief. So we decided, as she loved to exercising first thing in the morning, to just set the clock 5 minutes earlier to just be in that space of grief, and using her exercise routine to move her through her grief, allowing it to come up. And that way she felt like she had a place to allow it to move through her body and move its way out. So just allowing time to breathe, allowing yourself time to be in sadness. Even if it's not scheduled, maybe when it comes up, can you just stop and say, I'll give this 2 minutes. I will just breathe and be with what these emotions are. And if that 2 minutes turns to 5, turns to 10, that's okay. But you're giving it permission to be when it does come. And therefore, I think grief understands, oh, I don't have to just sneak up on her. I can tap her on the shoulder and she'll give me her full attention. So that is number 4. Number 5 is develop rituals to facilitate the grieving process. And you know what, rituals have been around since ancient times. And I wasn't going to really speak too much on grief, but on ritual. But what I'll say is that rituals give us a sense of control again, because that's what the grief has robbed us of. That sense of being in control, that sense of being on top of things and knowing what's going to come next. When we participate in ritual, when we create our own ritual, it gives us a sense of control again. It gives us that feeling of, yeah, I've got this. I've got this. And honoring it as well. Saying that this event has happened and I'm paying homage to it. I am in reverence to it. And a ritual can be anything just really simple, because the ritual, the power of the ritual lies in your intent around the ritual. You set the intention of what it is that you're grieving for. You set the intention. And so therefore, it can be as simple as, we always light candles, but lighting a candle, maybe burning an incense, having a special reading or some quote that you love, a ringing of a bell, allowing like so many minutes of silence. As I said, you can have incense, you can have a candle. You know, the incense is purification of the air. The candle is that spiritual lighting of the path. Water represents another form of purification and prayer. You can start your ritual by pouring a little water or a little libation for ancestral reverence and taking in some of the water for purification within your own body. So you can create a ritual in just a matter of seconds. It doesn't have to be anything long and drawn out. But if you feel yourself still in some sense of feeling powerless over grief, try creating a ritual. I have a book. If you send me an email, at Bonnie at yourdoulaforgrief.com, I can send you a list of references, resources, books that I use for ritual. But I do love this one. It's called A Woman's Retreat Book, and it's by Jennifer Loudon. And she also has another book entitled Woman's Comfort Book. Love that. Just she goes through just a litany of emotional states that we can be in, and she offers a ritual for each one, or an activity to move through around those emotional states. And this one she has, it's on touching grief. And I'm just going to touch on it because I just happened to have it here with me this morning. But her first step is, of course, we set our intention for what it is that we want to accomplish from this ritual, or our hope in gaining from this ritual, or just paying reverence and homage to something or someone. And the first thing that she suggests, and I say this too, is find a piece of music that allows you to be with your emotions, that allows you to cry, sob, feel sad, just whatever piece of music. And I could recommend pieces of music, but that's such a subjective thing. We're all so different. I can only tell you what I use. I have a CD, and it's by Peter Cater and Carlos Nakai. And it's impromptu. They put together music with the piano and the Native American flute. And for me, that works for me to allow me to really dive deep into any emotional state that I'm in. I've played this music for so long. I just need to hear the first bars of it opening, and I'm already at the place that I'm desiring to be. So finding that piece of music that really allows you to be with your emotions. And the next that she offers is also like satisfying the sense of smell. And some of the smells that are recommended is that cinnamon, your favorite perfume. She even says your favorite laundry detergent. And it made me think of the fabric softener, Suavitel. Does anybody know that one? It just smells so delightful. Oh my gosh. When I used to use that, it was just, oh, I loved whatever I put on that just, oh, suddenly had that smell. So using smell. And I was going to say about our sense of smell. Oh gosh, I can't remember who wrote the book. It's called a book. It's the history of the natural senses. Anyway, it talks about our sense of smell is one of those senses that bypasses all of our filters. We can't filter out or stop what a smell brings. Like you, I'm sure you've had this. It's like, it smells like fresh baking bread. Reminds me when I would be at grandma's house and she would bake cookies. So that sense of smell, appeasing that sense of smell as well, because that can be a transformative thing. Just like the music, the smell can be a truly transformative thing. And therefore, you have the music, you have the smell of what it is that you want. And then what you can do, she just suggest that you just sit and be, wrap yourself up, or nestle into a comfortable place and just be for a few minutes. And she also recommends that if you're going to be in this state, at least have a friend on standby, somebody that just in case, you get overwhelmed with your emotions and feelings, someone that you can call to say here, but put them on notice. Put them on notice. Nothing you want them to be supportive. To be there for you. But I'm going to stop with ritual. But ritual is a truly an effective, a very effective tool in processing our grief or moving through that fear of our grief. Also reading, also journaling can be that form of a ritual. Going for a hike where each foot, as you're walking, you imagine each foot is being kissed by the earth. Each foot is being supported on the path, or feeling the hand of the divine at the small of your back. Those things can be just as much as a ritual as pulling all the stops out with the water and the scents and the music. So yes, ritual. And number 6 is give yourself permission to set aside grieving for a while. Yeah, breathe into that one. Give yourself permission to set aside grieving for a while. And just go and have some fun. Just go and have some fun. Because, grieving is truly exhausting. And you do need a respite. You do need a respite. Do you have a crazy friend that you can call that you can call and they're always up for some kind of mischief and merrymaking? Give them a call. Give yourself permission to have fun. Some people feel, and I know that this is a truth, some people feel like, especially when it's around grieving of a loved one, that if they stop and have fun, that means they did not have enough love for their loved one. That this means I'm not really still honoring their memory. And that is so not true. That is so not true, but that is yours to get to. That is yours to get to know that you do need to have fun. Lighten up. Life is meant to be lived. Yes, grief is a part of it, putting things in balance. You don't want the grief to be overshadowing other areas of your life as well. So, as I said, give yourself permission to set aside grief for a minute. Okay? And number 7 is seek support from safe people who do not judge you or tell you how to grieve. We know what that means. We means carefully looking at those that you keep company with. As I said, bell hooks says we can't we can't grieve in isolation. That is a truth. Because I know that grief needs to be heard, grief needs to be talked about, and grief needs to be shared. Those are my 3 pillars of beginning to heal from grief. Talking about it, being heard, and sharing it. Having it validated. Having someone to say, yes, Bonnie, yes, that is. Wow, I can see how that can be overwhelming. I can see how your heart is still broken. So needing those 3 pillars of healing to really move through this. And as I said, seek support from people that can be supportive. Okay. And we all know who those are. We know those people that we can call that will give us a big browbeating if that's what we need, or a dressing down. This is not the time for that. This is not the time for that. And so then we move on to the other. Accept that your life is going to feel crazy or unrealistic for a while. Yes, it will feel crazy. It will feel unrealistic. Like you can't just get your head around this. Hey, my suggestion when this happens is take a nap. Take a nap. When you really feel like, oh, when is this craziness going to end? But just the knowing of it, though, just the knowing. So many of the things that we go through in grief, just the awareness, if we're aware, allows us to move through it a lot easier. Not that you won't have the pain or the heartbreak, but just allows you to move through it maybe a little quicker. And I don't want to put the emphasis on quick. I want the emphasis on moving through it, even though it may be painful, knowing that you will get through this, or it will lessen. These emotions will lessen. Not that they'll ever go away, but they'll lessen. Oh, I love this. David Kessler was saying that as we're moving through grief, especially grief of losing a loved one, that yes, we do move through it and it is very painful, but that the idea is that one day we will remember our loved one with more love than pain. Yes, remembering them with more love than pain. So, yes. So number 9 is have faith that grieving leads to healing. The very thing that we're running from with grief, the very thing we're looking for is hidden right inside of grief. And grief's superpower is healing. That it is the healing each time we lean in and feel that pain, feel that discomfort. Each time that we lean in, we are going through that healing process. And also, number 10 is have faith that grieving leads to personal growth. Knowing that there is an expansion that's happening within you. There is an expansion that's happening, an expansion, a newness, a transformation that is happening. I can talk to you at length about people that have moved through grief and the transformative power and what they're doing now that they no longer did before whatever event occurred, how their life has blossomed and bloomed in ways that they did not expect to have. They did not expect that. So grief, yes, knowing that personal growth is taking place. And the other was try to find meaning in your suffering. And that, oh my goodness, that has different meanings for different people. Finding meaning for the loss, looking at the gems maybe, and this doesn't come right away. Looking at some of the gems, looking at some of the gifts that have come from this. What can you put meaning on as, maybe there were some special events that happened with you and your loved one. Maybe there were some really special occurrences that happened before you got fired from that job that you can hold on to. But that is yours to do. That is yours to do with that, finding that meaning. And I offer that and I say, don't forget that sometimes with grief, we do need professional help. You can reach out. Psychotherapists, I'm a grief coach, counselors, grief support groups that can help to unearth, especially when you're talking about finding meaning. You sometimes may need help with that aspect of it. And this is the last, number 12, is just being ruthless and radical with self-care and what self-care looks like and means to you. For me, my self-care is curbing my people-pleasing tendencies. Yes, knowing that it's about me. That, oh, I love this. Oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to do this to hurt their feelings. But there's a quote that says, why are their feelings more important than your own feelings? So I'm giving you permission, carte blanche, to just really go full force with taking care of you. Knowing that right now, you could just ask yourself, right now, every day with self-care, this is what I say, and I even say this at the close of my program. I just say, just look yourself in the mirror. Go look yourself in the mirror when you get up in the morning. Look yourself in the mirror or hold eye contact. Take 3 deep breaths and just say, what do I need today? What do I need right now? What do I need? And make sure that you honor what comes up. Make sure you honor what comes up. And what I want to do to close this of the 12 suggestions, I want to close it with this little quote by James Baldwin, a friend of mine sent this to me a little bit ago. And it says, it is necessary, why in darkness, to know that there is a light somewhere, to know that in oneself, waiting to be found, there is a light. And that's by James Baldwin. So I'm going to close that with that. And have Joe take us to a break, and then we'll come back and close out the show. But those are the 12 suggestions for moving through. Thank you. I'll be back.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.
Wow. Thank you so much. That time has really just flown by. And I hope that you can really find some gifts, some tools in these 12 suggestions of dealing with grief. So I just thank you. Thank you for listening. And I have something telling me that I should just do a quick recap of what the 12 suggestions are. So number one is to be patient with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Keep life as simple as possible. Allow time and space to grieve. Develop rituals to facilitate the grieving process. Give yourself permission to set time aside from grieving, away from grieving, to just have fun or just a respite. Seek support from safe people who do not judge you or tell you how to grieve. Accept that your life is going to feel crazy or unrealistic for a while. Have faith that grieving leads to healing. Have faith that grieving leads to personal growth. Try to find something meaningful in your suffering. Try to find meaning in your suffering. Self-care is the last, being ruthless with self-care. So I thank you for listening. And here's what I wanted to just say. Look, I want to say that there's so many wonderful programs on New Thought Media Network. And so just starting tuning in, Joe, maybe I could talk about, I know my dear friend Joe has a Thursday program, and it is Choice Your Superpower. And that's on Thursdays at 12 noon Mountain Time. And then there is Reverend Webb, and he has the Miracle of Prosperity. That's on Sundays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I was going to try to recall it from memory, and it's right here in front of my face. So thank you, Joe. And then we have Fireside Chat with Reverend Michael Mangus, and he's on Fridays, and that is 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and it's Friday's Fireside Chat. And then we have a new program there, Spiritual Toolkit with Reverend Brock Ford. I think he's a newbie. He's the new kid on the block. So welcome, Reverend Ford. So there you have it. But check out newthoughtmedia.org, and you can, find a list of programming. And don't be shy about making a contribution to New Thought Media. ntmedia.org/donate, I believe, is the site to go to make a donation, and no donation is too small or insignificant. We just appreciate you. So and also I wanted to just put up, I am doing a soul collage workshop, and it's in person here. If you happen to be flying over Lake Chapala, Mexico on April 12th, or going to be in the area of Ajijic, I am right here. We fly into Guadalajara Airport. If you're going to be in the area, please check it out. And the workshop is on April 12th. And it'll 12 noon to 4 p.m. and just give me a holler, the wisdom of soul collage to begin our healing from grief. And I'm so looking forward to that. It's just a very, very transformative time and workshop, and will be really, really pleasantly overjoyed and surprised about your own innate inner wisdom, and how images can just give you a voice that you had not recognized before, a wise voice filled with wisdom. So with that, I just say thank you for watching today. And it's been an hour that's gone by so fast. I really can't believe, what's that expression? How time flies when you're having fun. So I must have been having somewhat of a pleasant time to have it gone by so quickly. And I just thank you for watching. And I just want to leave you with, don't do grief alone. Just don't do grief alone. And I'm going to close it with this. And this is from something that's called the 4 Gifts of Grief. And I was hoping I the name here. Alexandra Kennedy, and it's from Healing After Loss, Wisdom Healing After Loss, the Wisdom of Healing After Loss. And so grief is one of the most humbling and challenging experiences we go through as human beings. It is also one of the most transformative. Grief changes us. We are no longer the person we were before that loss. We see through different eyes. Since grief works so deeply and slowly within our psyches, we often need inspiration to stay with the process of healing, which is so true. When we stay with the process for as long as it takes to heal, we tap deep resources from within that enable us to emerge from the dark night of grief with more expansion, courage, connection, and empowerment than we ever could have imagined. And as you tap into this inner resource of your journey through grief, you gain access to strength, vision, and purpose to make a difference with your life. You leave, or you stand, or you will be empowered, and empowers you. So yeah, just breathe that in. And I just want to say thank you for being here. Not thank you for being here, yes, but thank you even more so for your courageousness, for showing up for yourself, for your courageousness to be with what it is that you're feeling. And we call it grief. So I leave you with, just don't do grief alone. Thank you, namaste, and I will see you next time. Ciao.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.